Well, hello everyone. My name is Marx. I'm a software engineer at Holobuilder, and I'm working at the German office in Aachen. We have two offices, one in San Francisco, one in Aachen. We're actually a spin-off from the RWTH, and at least in Germany, it's kind of well-known university. Okay, I probably give me a second here. I'm not sure. Is it working? All right. All right, cool. So has anyone in the crowd heard about Holobuilder? Nice. Good guy. All right. So no one did. All right, good. So what is Holobuilder? Holobuilder is a software for on-site progress documentation. Now, what's that? To understand what it is, we should probably look at what it was like 4 years ago, before Holobuilder. And what people would do to track progress in construction sites is basically take a point-and-shoot camera, go to the first room, take a picture, take another one, go to the next room, and repeat that process. End up with over 1,000 images from probably similar-looking rooms if you consider hospitals or airports. And if you get back to the office, then you try to get all the data from the camera to your laptop, then you have a folder with several thousand images, and it's kind of hard to propagate this information to any people involved. So what Holobuilder does is it simplifies the capturing process in order to improve communication across all stakeholders. And for construction projects, there are really 2 or 3 different or most important stakeholders, which is the owners and the operators. These are the guys who basically hand out or basically start the bidding process. If you want to build a hospital, they go out and like, okay, we want to build this. These are the information we have. Give us your estimate of how much time it takes, how much money you need, and all that stuff. And there are the contractors and subcontractors, which are basically the companies who go to other companies and say, okay, we need someone to do floors, walls, drywalls, plumbing, and all this stuff. And architects and engineers are really the ones who also go on site and talk to the people out there. Now, between all these people, there should be a good flow of information. Because if you consider the problem here is that for people who are not on the site, it's really hard to get meaningful insights to what's happening. So if you're on site, you know, okay, this guy does that. Today we did the following piece of work, and this information needs to be move to all the stakeholders. Like if you're a decision maker in a project management position and you may work across country, there's no way you get that information simply by someone telling you, or even if it's hard to rely on that. So what Holobuilder does is create a platform to have one single source of truth for all your progress documentation. And this has several benefits. The most obvious is, of course, the communication, but travel time. For example, if you're an architect and you're out of country, there's really no way for you to get to all the construction sites. We enable you to visit construction sites, basically walk your sites virtually from anywhere, whether you're at the back office or in other place around town. And for contractors, it's especially important because contractors get paid after they finish some milestone. So if you have milestone A, whatever it may be, drywalls or whatever, only then are you going to get paid. And for the owner or the operator, how do they check whether you're actually did the job? So they would need to send out someone to inspect it, have a team, which costs time, money, and all that stuff. So by enabling different stakeholders to walk the site virtually, all these negative side of things are mitigated. And how do we actually do it? Well, the process is stupidly simple. You take a 360-degree camera, one of your device of choice, maybe Android or iOS, and you take the Dropbox app. Then you go on site, you put sheets, floor plans, or aerial images, whatever you might have, onto your device. And in order to start the capturing process, you locate yourself on device. So you say, okay, I'm on level 1 or 2 or wherever it may be. You just tap the location where you are. The camera connected to your phone takes an image, stitches it on software side, and puts the image on the app or the device on yours. And if you repeat that process, you go to the next room, to the next level, and if you repeat that process over time, you get something we call, the fancy word, it's time travel. This image is really only there to signify what you're getting. So if you create these images, over time you get a time lapse, and this time lapse enables you to compare the state of the current state of a construction site to any other state you might choose to compare it to. So this really means you can go back and forth in time. That alone is of course not super special. You also need a way to navigate those files. Having 10,000 files in a folder or in a list is not a huge difference. So this is just one part. We enable you to categorize images with categories, which is basically if you go on sites using the Dropbox app, you can say, okay, today I want to capture, for example, the drywall construction as a milestone, and every single image you take there will be categorized as such, and the time, as soon as you get back to the office and upload all your data again, anyone across country can check about your data and see exactly what you did and whether it's whether it's what you should be doing or not. This process itself, of course, is collaborative, meaning if you have a construction site such as a hospital or an airport, there's no way one single person can do all the capturing him or herself. Oops. And this is why we offer you the possibility to capture it simultaneously with as many people as you like. And the capturing process, as I just said, is so simple that that there's no need to send out highly educated, skilled engineers outside. But basically, as long as you can walk and tap on a screen, you can do these job sites. And actually, new jobs have been created ever since we basically introduced this to the construction industry, a job to go out and capture the sites. And as you can see here, if you do that from the very first time you set site on the construction site, you document the full life cycle of the building. In the design part of this building, for example, you can bring in your Revit or BIM models and have more realistic biddings, because the contractors giving you estimates on how much work it takes, they don't only see drawings, but they can actually basically already walk the site before it even started construction. Then you have the construction process, as we just said, and all that goes directly into the operational phase or facility management, where it's very important, or you're sleeping well if you can prove 20 years down the road that the smoke detectors are there and the pipes are exactly there, because you can prove it with a timestamp and an image. Of course, for enterprise users, we also, for example, if you're building a state or federal state prison, you don't want to have your data on a random cloud server. So we also offer on-premises solution, meaning you can host our software on your own servers. So as long as you don't get hacked yourself, well, too bad for you, but there's no way anyone else would ever get access to it. Other enterprise features we offer is analytics dashboard where you can set up teams, transfer teams, because there's there's a lot of engineers here and they like configuration, but if you need to move a team to a new project and set up the same exact permissions for each folder level or project, that's quite annoying. So you can do all of that, get job site analytics, meaning you know exactly what has been done on which day of the week, and so back and forth. Now, as I said, Holobuilder really is a platform to get all your data and make sense of it in terms of propagating information to all stakeholders. And one of our longest or most influential partnerships is actually with Autodesk. We do have a Revit plugin as well, which enables you to, it's a one-click integration really, which if you've ever tried to share a Revit model with someone on a smartphone, you may know that it's basically not possible. Revit models are quite hardware hungry, so what we have is you can just have a click there, it exports a certain view of your model to Holobuilder, and you can share it like a YouTube link, of course with all the correct access management properties set up. So even if you share the link by accident on Facebook or whatever, of course nobody has access to it. More interestingly though, we have integrations with BIMS 360 as well as, which is still in closed beta I guess, Field Manager, because why reinvent the wheel if you have a feature people are looking for, but you cannot, or you rather don't want to implement it yourself, why not go to a strong partner and see how we can help each other out. So what Autodesk already has, as for example, is BIMS 360, which is basically your single source of truth for documents. And coming up is a Field Manager, which is a quite powerful way to handle issues, RFIDs, punch lists, and stuff like this. Now, what Autodesk is kind of not having is context. So all of these issues which you see here, so this is pretty small, but as you can see, there's a lot of text. It's basically all text. But where's the context? And the context is, of course, the picture, the job site image. And other way around, we don't have the task management capabilities. So very unspectacular here, but with a click on the link of that button, we open up Holobuilder for you right in the Field Manager UI. And it enables you to get the context of whatever issue you may be facing, RFIDs and such like this. And so for the next one, looking at all the people here, most are probably concerned with models and how to render stuff and like this. And we're probably using the most boring APIs Forge has to offer, which is the data management API as well as the Field Manager. We basically trying to get strings, data, whatever people are doing. So there's not so much fancy stuff. So I was really wondering, what could I tell you people about Forge, which would actually be kind of helpful. So actually, there's just 3 points I just want to mention, apart from the fact that working with the Forge guys really was a great way. So quick turnaround times, able to have a Zoom chat or something like this. And what I really want to get at is that Auth 2, an authentication, which we all know is pivotal to software which is handles confidential data. There's still so much email login, password stuff going on. Auth 2 really should be the way to go, token-based authentication. And funny enough, but before I worked with the Forge API, I had no idea about the JSON API actually. And JSON API, I can just assume that all of Forge works like this, but it's a really convenient way to get data quickly without making too many API calls, because it does not only include the one thing you requested, like if it's an issue from the field manager, it's not just the issue name, description, and an ID. It also handles relationships and related data, such as the next issue or related RFIDs. And it really minimizes server requests you need to make. And JSON API is not invented or something like this by Autodesk, but it's more of a set of rules, opinionated way how to handle server responses. And last but not least, I think the documentation, and I really mean it because I've seen a lot of API documentation really lacking on all fronts. But I think the Forge documentation is really one of the best I've seen. So props go out to the guys whoever wrote those. And yeah, I'm sweating, and I can only wish you a happy hacking day. Thank you, everyone.